Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Two Gods Summoned to a Fantasy World by BenGrem1234. Chapter 13. Khloe vs. Keba. Khloe was climbing the stairs that would lead her to the Queen of Vampires at a leisure pace. She was in no rush because she could feel that the Vampire Queen was waiting for her. She reached the end of the stairs and came into a massive room with a giant golden door at the end of the room. She looked closely and saw a black-haired boy with a sword, standing in front of the door. "I guess you are my final obstacle before meeting the Queen," Khloe said as she approached the boy. "Indeed I am. My name is Keba and I am a knight to my beloved Queen," Keba introduced himself. "I'm Khloe and I am a god. Would you kindly move out of the way?" Khloe asked him. "I will not. As a proud vampire and a knight, it is my duty to protect my queen even if it costs me my life," Keba said with conviction. Khloe smiled. "I was once a knight too, a long time ago, so I'm feeling a little nostalgic right now. Tell you what, I will make you a promise. I will only fight you with nothing but my sword. I will not use any power, just my skills and techniques with the sword." Keba looked shocked. "Are you underestimating me?" "Underestimating you? I'm actually giving you a chance. I could easily end you in a blink of an eye, but this way you have a chance to at least provide with some entertainment. You should be grateful," Khloe told him. Keba got angry. "I will make you pay for looking down on me, goddess or not." He drew his sword and got ready. "This should be fun then." Khloe drew her own sword and got into a fighting position. Keba disappeared and appeared in front of Khloe with his sword ready to cut her. He brought his sword down at her with the intention of cutting her in half, but Khloe blocked his strike by raising her own sword, which intercepted Keba's sword. Keba, seeing that his attack was unsuccessful, began to slash at Khloe with great speed. Khloe began to deflect all his slashes, but Keba didn't stop. Eventually, multiple sparks began to occur in the hall, with Keba doing his best to cut Khloe and Khloe deflecting all his sword slash with little difficulty. Keba, who saw that his slashes were getting him nowhere, jumped back to gain some distance from Khloe. Khloe looked at the retreated Keba with amusement. "It's that really the best an elder vampire can do?" Keba's face changed into that of anger. "Not yet. This is my magic which earned me the title fastest vampire after the Queen." Keba's body began to glow, and in the next instance, he vanished. He appeared at one corner behind Khloe and then he disappeared again. He appeared at other corner before he disappeared again. He began to disappear and appear in multiple places in the hall. "I am the fastest mortal on earth. I can reach a speed 25x faster than the speed of light. No mortal can keep up with me, and certainly you cannot either. I will cut your head before you know what hit you," Keba said while still running around the room. Khloe didn't move and kept standing where she was. Keba saw her standing still and smiled in victory. "Prepare to die, goddess," he shouted as rushed in front of Khloe with the intention of cutting her head. He was in front of Khloe with his sword ready, but an unexpected event happened. Khloe grabbed his sword, which was a few meters from her neck, with her hand. Once she has grabbed it, she used her own sword that was in her right hand to slash at Keba's stomach with little force. The force was enough to send Keba flying to a wall with a great boom. All this literally happened in practically zero time. Khloe looked at herself with pride. She has definitely gotten stronger compared to before when she fought in the Tema War. She was faster and stronger. She was even able to follow Keba's speed without relying much on thought acceleration. She was proud of herself. Keba came out from the rubles that had fallen and covered him after he crashed into the wall thanks to Khloe. His body was covered in wounds and his stomach was bleeding due to Khloe's slash. He was also beyond confused on how any being could keep up with such speed casually. Could it be that this god Khloe was faster than him, who was supposed to have surpassed the speed of some of the gods? He looked at Khloe with fear after he arrived at that conclusion. "Just how are you this fast?" Keba asked with fear. Khloe looked at him in the eye. "Believe me when I tell you this, but you are by far one of the fastest mortal I've ever seen. If you were facing anyone else other than me, you would have won in an instant, but too bad that your opponent just happened to be faster than you. I wouldn't be able to call myself a time god if I let a little speed like that to get to me." "So that was not your full speed?" Keba asked her with a little fear. "Nope. I can go way faster if I start to use my powers, but I won't for this fight. I did promise after all. Now then, come at me some more, or is that the extent of an elder's power? Khloe mocked him. Keba breathed in and out to calm himself. He needed to win against this odds because if this god ever faces his queen, he feared that his queen might be defeated. He strongly held his sword with his new determination and glared at Khloe. Khloe saw the new fire in Keba's eyes, but she didn't have time to dwell on it because Keba ran at her with an even greater speed than before. Khloe brought up her sword and blocked a slash from Keba which was aimed at her face. Before she could retaliate, Keba was already at her back with his sword dangerously close to her spine. Khloe had to bend herself at an impossible angle in order to dodge the slash that was aimed at her spine. She jumped back and kept her distance in order to observe Keba. He has definitely gotten faster than before. I'd say about triple of his previous speed. What did he do to increase his speed by this much? Khloe thought to herself as she observed Keba. She saw something strange at the body of Keba. With her eyes that could analyze all phenomena in this world, she was able to understand just what Keba did. It seems that Keba gave up all his life energy in exchange for more power and speed, but for this to happen, he was slowing dying. It shows from how hard he was breathing with blood dripping from his nose, ears and eyes. You fool! You gave up your immortality and life just to have a little chance of beating me, Khloe shouted at him in rage. Keba slowed down his breathing and glared at Khloe. I am willing to do whatever is necessary to protect my queen even at the cost of my life. My immortality and life is nothing compared to the love I have for my queen. Do not mock my conviction. Khloe was taken aback by what Keba said. She lowered her face with her hair covering her eyes. But you are just going to die. Even if you manage to beat me, is it really called victory if you are dead? Who will celebrate your victory then? I don't care. I will protect my queen no matter what obstacle stands in my way, Keba told her with an unwavering spirit. Khloe raised her face and looked Keba in the eyes. I accept your conviction. You do not have much time left, so I will accept your resolve by beating this new form of yours. Khloe brought up her sword and rushed at Keba with her own speed which caught Keba off guard. Keba brought up his sword and clashed it with Khloe, but Khloe overwhelmed him due to her superior strength. Keba jumped back when he saw that he was being overpowered by Khloe's blade. He made a distance between himself and Khloe. His sword began to glow and he slashed the air in a cross form which sent a massive mana energy at Khloe. The mana energy was in the shape of a cross and it was moving at the same speed as Keba. Khloe looked at the mana energy approaching her with little worry. She got into a stance and prepared her own technique, Absolute Severance. She slashed at the energy in front of her and cut through it with little difficulty. After she cut the energy, it disappeared without a trace, leaving a very confused Keba. Keba didn't know what happened, but he knew he didn't have much time. He poured all his remaining energy into his sword and it started to glow. A huge torrent of wind began to generate from him due to all the mana he is pouring into his sword. Khloe looked at what he was doing with a smile. I see you want to finish this because your time is almost up. I will meet your sword with mine in this final clash. Khloe began to release a blue aura from her body which covered her and her sword. She got into her stance and prepared to attack Keba. Keba on the other hand, did the same. He got into his own stance and prepared to attack Khloe with his final move. He knew he was about to die, which is why he is giving it everything he has in this final clash. Both Keba and Khloe watched each other with unblinking eyes. After a few minutes has passed, both rushed at each other with their full speed. Well, in Keba's case, that is, since Khloe is still not going all out. As both of them reached each other, both raised their sword and clashed it with each other, which caused a massive explosion which shook the entire castle. The room was covered in a bright light after their clash and the entire castle began to shake from the impact. After the light died down, the dust cleared to reveal Khloe standing over a downed Keba whose body was covered in blood with his sword broken in two. Khloe looked at the lifeless Keba with sad eyes. You may have been a vampire, but you were true to your conviction to the end. Even though you lost, take pride that you managed to give me a good fight for a mortal. After she said that, she walked away from the body of Keba and headed for the giant door. For some reason, the door remained okay after all the fighting she did with Keba. Khloe guessed it must be some kind of barrier. She reached the door, but it began to open on its own without her doing anything. Khloe walked into the room and saw a single throne at the end of the room with a girl seating in it. The girl was smiling at Khloe with gladness as Khloe kept approaching her. "Welcome to my kingdom, goddess Khloe. You and your attendant have given my elites quite the welcome," Lilith said to her. Khloe looked at the girl seating at the throne with an unreadable expression. "So you are this so-called vampire queen, Lilith, I presume?" Lilith smiled some more. "Very good of you, goddess. Now then, what can I do for you?" "I came to demand for the release of all the human slaves you have. If you refuse, I will have no choice but to kill you." Khloe told Lilith her intention. Lilith smiled as she observed Khloe while releasing a bit of her powers. Khloe began to do the same, and before long, the entire kingdom began to shake from the pressure. This will be a fight between two gods. Khloe and Lilith, who comes out on top? All we know is that the world will change after such battle occurs.